Probably, we've always had skates. I'm actually a fourth-generation skater, so I've been in it a long time. Family's been in it a long time. There's actually stories, and I don't exactly remember it, but there's stories about me having skates before I actually had shoes to wear around, because skating kind of came first in the family. So in a way, I guess you could say I kind of carry the torch for that long line of, skaters. We went through a few pairs of skates before I could walk because I kept outgrowing them. They thought I could walk sooner than I could, which meant for them I could skate sooner than I could. So we went through went past 2 pairs of skates, grew out both pairs of them. And we always had our birthday parties up here as a family. So I'd say the earliest memory is probably, chasing Pops around, kind of the old school football chase, if you will, with Pops. That's probably the youngest memory I have. Either that or him teaching me how to backward skate, holding his hand whenever I was maybe like 6 or 7, and the older kids were laughing because I was holding my dad's hand, and I thought that was funny. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. Actually, the owners of this rink, the makers of this rink, my grandfather and Jeff's father, actually coached the speed skating team out here. And so my dad and Jeff met whenever they were like real young. And so that's kind of how I came into the fold, and the family came into the fold. So I kind of, we grew up with this rink. This rink's as much home as home is. And like I like to say, I'd rather have wheels on my feet than shoes. It's a little bit easier if you ask me. So, like back in high school, whenever everybody started getting too cool for things and everybody was at the football games, I was up here, working on the moves, because I guess it's kind of a lifestyle thing. I don't know. It creates the lifestyle of like, I'm going to do me. You can figure out you, but I've done figured out me. If you kind of got a problem with that, that's on you, because I know where I'm at, to me. That's kind of the biggest thing is, because, whenever you're a grown man and you tell another grown man that you work with or something like that, hey, man, I roller skate, there's always that, like, you do what, bro? Like, you're a grown man, you got to pay bills and you roller skate? And it's like, yeah, but if you saw me, you wouldn't exactly, kind of think the same way. It's a lot different than what you know as growing up. And then it kind of, as I got older, I was like, wow, they're like demasculating skating. Like, skating isn't a masculine thing to people anymore. And so for me, it's kind of like I know where I'm at, I know where I'm headed, I know what I like. If you don't know what you like and you got to keep up this front of like, oh, you're demasculating it, then, whatever. But I guess it's kind of a lifestyle thing. I wanted to be smooth, if that makes sense, like how I wanted to be smooth. I went out to a few rinks in Atlanta and saw how smooth they were as I kind of got older, and that kind of is what kept me in it. That kind of gave me kind of a reignition of the flame, because the way that they were skating was unlike anything I've ever seen, kind of outside of Atlanta. It was more of a artistic kind of skate. It was more of a dance kind of skate, but not the break dancing that you would normally see. I grew up at, this Sparkles in Hiram with the shuffle skating, and, it's pretty much very, almost basic. Once you kind of go outside of this rink, you kind of see people start getting into different rhythms and getting into different moves, and not necessarily break dancing in the middle, but skating while they're dancing, because that's really skating. So I kind of had a reignition of the flame, I'll say again, and that's kind of what kept me going, as I saw how smooth they were, and I was like, man, I want to be smooth like that. Also, there was no really, if I'm being honest, white people that were smooth like that out there, so that was kind of another thing. I was like, man, I wonder if I could get like that. Yeah. My honest opinion is that it's very, stagnant right now, because it's very stagnant because there's a big breakup between the styles of skating, if that makes sense. I think that is headed more towards of an artistic style of skating, because people are starting to kind of realize, like, a dude doesn't look like a ballerina if he's spinning around in circles. It looks cool. And, things like that. And also kind of the older generation that grew up shuffle skating. Like, shuffle skating is such a thing that's pushed so hard. And it's like, shuffle skating is the fundamentals of skating. Shuffle skating isn't like a type of skating. It's the fundamentals. You shuffle on the beat. That's all it is. As long as you can push on the beat, you're a fantastic shuffle skater. Okay, what's next? So I feel like the generation that's kind of getting up there, like I said about my family, getting up there into their later years, I think once they kind of start leaving the rink, I think it's going to make a whole different turn. whole different 180 turn into more of an artistic style of skating. Because, like I said, whenever I worked up here for a while, there are people that, after I'd went and saw the artistic style of skating in Atlanta and kind of brought it back here, you know, the next few weeks I come in here, and there was a long time where I wore my Pops high tops. I had some Lebedos. I still remember them. I wore them from the time I was like 9 until I was like 18, 19, 20. And I'd worn them so much, the boot had completely ripped off this plate, so they were bound together by bright gray, bright silver duct tape. And and since I didn't grow up with the jam skating and I grew up in boots, you can't exactly jump around and hop around and do all that stuff on these kind of skates. They kind of make you skate more upright, more proper. And oh, that's what I was saying. So as I was growing up with the duct tape skates, everybody made fun of me because I wore high tops. But then I'd be rolling beside them while they'd be pushing, and they'd be like, "Hey man, how are you still going?" I'm like, "'Cause I'm on an incline," you know. And so whenever I kind of so that happened for a long, long time with a lot of these people, because once you grow up in a rink, you stay at that rink generally. That's how it goes. And so as we were growing up, and I still had the boots, and I kind of started learning this artistic style. Next thing I know, 3 of the people that I'm working with got them, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we got the boots going on." And they're like, "Yeah man, teach me some stuff." And then, you know, it kind of goes on from there, you know, domino effect. Now whenever you go out there, there's boots all over the place. It used to not be like that whenever I was a kid. Whenever I was a kid, if you didn't have them low top Rydell's, you weren't a skater. You know, that's how it was. And now everybody wants the boots. And so I think it's a whole, like, where the style is going, like you were asking. Sorry, that was a long turnaround. So where the style is going, I think it's going more towards like an artistic kind of, not by the book skater. You know, people that are skating individually, looking good individually, rather than a big group looking like kind of cheerleaders, if I'm to be honest.